and let's find the very first post that I made on Instagram. What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna be repainting one of my old paintings. So we're gonna go to my Instagram page. We're gonna go all the way down to the bottom. I'm gonna see that first post. And there it is. So that's the first post on my Instagram page. It is a portrait study of Rey, and it's from March 1st, 2018. Today is February 12th, 2021. So it's been almost 3 years, and this portrait is very realistic. It's back when I was trying to do photorealism and not so much getting into stylization. So I think it'd be fun to redraw a portrait of Rey and see how my style has changed over the past 3 years. It's too bad the subject matter here didn't age too well, but we're gonna give it a shot. So I don't think I'm gonna use the same reference photo because I wanna switch it up a little bit, but we're still gonna be doing the same character, same subject. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna be putting the two paintings side by side for you guys to be able to see the differences between the two. I remember back then when I was drawing that portrait, I was taking like 6-7 hours to finish it, and there was no background in it either. 6-7 hours now is like an insane amount of time to me. Anyways, that's it for the intro. Let's just jump straight into it. I'm gonna start with a sketch like always, just so that I kind of know where I'm going with the painting. For this piece right here, I think I'm gonna go for something a little bit more stylized. I'm gonna be a little bit more expressive with my work. I'm not gonna be going for that photorealism kind of look because I don't really do that anymore. It's just, it hasn't been as fun for me. Like for the longest time, I've been trying to escape it, and I finally did. And I have no inclination to go back. So the portrait might not look like Rey, but we'll try our best. Can't forget to flip that canvas. Always flip that canvas. I think there are mistakes that you just can't see when you're viewing it from one side. But then when you flip the canvas, it's almost like, you know, like when you look at yourself in a mirror for so long and then you see yourself on camera for the first time, you're like, what? My face looks like that? Okay, we're good with the sketch. So now I'm gonna go into color blocking, and I'm gonna start with the background. I always like to do backgrounds first before anything else because that way I can get a good sense of the setting that is going to be surrounding the character. And funny thing is, I actually used to never do backgrounds when I first started doing digital art. I was not very comfortable with painting backgrounds, so I kind of just avoided them. But eventually I did decide to practice them a lot more. But this one here is going to be very simple. So I said before during the sketching phase that I'm going to be keeping this character relatively stylized, and I think for the rendering as well, I'm going to keep it pretty simple and not try to do too much with it because I'm not really going for like super photorealistic. There we go, we got a pretty good sense of the lighting now, and I love dynamic lighting scenarios. And I remember when I was just getting started in digital art, I've always really admired people who are able to draw lighting super well, and that's something that I've always wanted to work on. And now it's like absolutely one of my favorite things to do. I think myself 3 years ago would be pretty proud of the lighting that I'm doing today. And a big difference I think you're gonna see is my work nowadays is a lot more expressive than it used to be. This is almost starting to look like Rey if she was an animated character instead of a live action character. It's kind of cool. So right now we're at the 30-minute mark. It's definitely going a lot faster than I would have 3 years ago. And I think the biggest contributing factor to my speed that I'm able to paint at today is actually just the amount of practice that I've been putting in over the past 6-7 months. As you get more familiar with what you're painting, as you have a little bit more experience, you're gonna be able to start putting down brush strokes that you don't have to take back later on and you don't have to fix later on. And that's what I find with my painting process now that I'm able to paint much faster than before. I feel like where I save the most amount of time is in just putting down brush strokes and leaving them there and not worrying too much about them and getting caught up on the details. Now going back to the topic of speed, I've mentioned this in an Instagram post before actually, but you don't want to rush yourself when you're painting. So I know that I put all these timestamps on my paintings saying I finished them in a certain amount of time, but that doesn't mean that you should also try to cut yourself off at the hour 30-minute mark, let's say. I think the most important thing is for you to learn as much as you can and focus on the quality of your work. Don't worry too much about the speed. It's fine to take your time with a painting every once in a while. It's fine to take 6-7 hours to just flesh out the details if that's what makes you happy. At the end of the day, you're doing it for you. You shouldn't feel rushed doing your paintings. So the thing I would say is to focus on quality and not necessarily time. Time is something that's going to come with more experience and more practice and a better understanding of the subjects that you're drawing. It's been about 45 minutes. I think it's looking pretty good so far. We just gotta add in some of the final touches and small details and we should be done with this. So I'll get that figured out and I'll check back in with you guys with the final results. And for those of you who are curious, yes, I am always standing when I make these videos. It just gives me a little bit more sense of urgency. It's not as hard on my back. Okay, so it's been about an hour and 10 minutes. Here's our finished portrait. I'm gonna put these two side by side so you can see kind of the difference that 3 years made. I think the biggest difference here is the style. Back then, 3 years ago, I was going for much more of a photorealistic kind of look. There was no room for stylization whatsoever, and everything had to be super precise. And that's kind of like reflected in that drawing. And like I said before, it did take a long time to render. It's probably like 6-7 hours to finish that piece, just to get everything looking right. And I do remember working on it and having to adjust tiny things like the corner of the eyes, the corner of the mouth, to make them look exactly like they did in the reference photo. It was just quite a pain, but it was a good learning experience for me, having done photorealism then I can jump into stylization a lot more comfortably. Gotta say, like, I'm definitely much more happy with where I am today in terms of my artistic style. It's much more vibrant than before. It's a lot more expressive than before. And I think I've been able to combine the photorealistic rendering that I learned along with the more animated proportions that I draw now to create something that looks pretty unique. So that's pretty cool. And thinking back, I really started drawing very seriously and practicing regularly, I think about 6 or 7 months ago. So if you were to ask me to redo this portrait a year ago, I don't think there would have been a huge difference. But the more practice that I got, the more consistently I started working at my craft, the more difference I was able to see. Like, there were certain weeks where I would look at paintings that I made the week before and be like, oh, why did I do that? But yeah, I guess moral of the story is, guys, just make sure you're looking back and appreciating how far you've come and how much progress you've made, because it's easy to get lost in the moment and think, why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? But then you gotta take a look at the big picture and see where you really came from. But yeah, this has been a really fun process. I'm glad I got to revisit this character. I kind of do like a throwback episode for you guys with this painting. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. If you'd like to see more digital art content just like this, feel free to subscribe to my channel. But other than that, I'll see you guys on the next video. Play music.
Playing some music on Spotify.